other engines. They were all bigger than Edward and boasted about it. They said, "The driver won't choose you again. He wants big, strong engines like us." Edward hadn't been out for a long time, and he began to feel sad. Just then, the driver and fireman came along to start work. The driver looked at Edward and said, "What's the matter? What's the matter? Are you feeling sad? Would you like to come out today? And Edward said, "Oh yes, please." So the fireman lit the fire and made a nice lot of steam. Then the driver pulled the lever and Edward puffed away. And he blew his whistle. Look at me. 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 Edward found the coaches, and they said, "Oh, please be careful, Edward. Don't bump and bang us like the other engines do." And the shunt. Where the people were waiting. Here we are. 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 Edward began to get cross. Are we ever going to start? Just then, a little boy shouted, "Here he comes!" And there the guard was, running down the hill, with his flags in one hand and a sandwich in the other. He ran onto the platform, blew his whistle, and jumped into his van. Edward puffed off. Here we go. Shh, shh. Here we go. 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 He did have a happy day. All the children ran to wave as he went past, and he met old friends at all the stations. He worked so hard that the driver promised to take him out again next day. And he told the other engines in the shed that night, "I'm going out again tomorrow. What do you think of that? But he didn't care what they thought, for he was so tired and happy that he fell asleep at once.
Was working in the construction yard, where supplies for the new branch line were being delivered.
Oh, well, I never! Donald and Douglas!
Edward woke up to find nothing had changed. Gordon was still boasting. "You watch me, little Edward, as I rush through with the express. That will be a splendid sight for you. Goodbye, little Edward. Look out for me this afternoon." Edward went off to do some shunting. He liked shunting. Playing with freight cars, he would come up quietly and give them a push. Then he would stop, and the silly freight cars would go bump into each other. "Oh!" they cried. "Whatever is happening?" Edward played till there were no more freight cars. Then he stopped to rest. Gordon was cross. Instead of nice shining coaches, he was pulling a dirty freight train. "A freight train, a freight train, a freight train," he grumbled. "The shame of it, the shame of it, oh, the shame of it." Edward laughed and went to find some more freight cars. Trouble. "Gordon can't get up the hill," the porter called to Edward's driver. "Will you take Edward and push him, please?" Halfway up and very cross. His driver and fireman were talking to him severely. "You're not good," said Gordon. "The noisy freight cars hold an engine back so." Him up. "We've come to push." "No use at all," said Gordon. They brought the train back to the bottom of the hill. Edward. No good, grumbled Gordon. They pulled and pushed as hard as they could. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it, puffed Gordon. I will do it. I will do it. I will do it, puffed Edward. Edward pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever he could. And almost before he realized it, I've done it, he said proudly. He forgot all about kind Edward. Didn't say nothing. Edward was left out of the crowd, far behind, but he was happy because he had been so helpful. At the next station, he found that the driver and firemen were very pleased with him. The fireman gave him a nice long drink, and the driver said, I'll get out my paint tomorrow, give you a beautiful coat of blue with red stripes. Then you'll be the smartest engine in the shed.
Was working in the construction yard, where supplies for the new branch line were being delivered.
Oh, well, I never! Donald and Douglas.
Once an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. It went into a tunnel and squeaked through its funnel and wouldn't come out again. The engine's name is Henry. His driver and fireman argued with him, but he would not move. The rain will spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes, he said. He blew his whistle till he had no more breath and waved his flag till his arms ached, but Henry still stayed in the tunnel and blew steam at him. I'm not going to spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes for you. Along came Sir Topham Hatt, the man in charge of all the engines on the island of Sodor. We will pull you out, said Sir Topham Hatt, but Henry only blew steam at him. Everyone pulled except Sir Topham Hatt, because, he said, my doctor has forbidden me to pull. But still, Henry stayed in the tunnel. Then the other end. Sir Topham Hatt said, 1, 2, 3, push. But he didn't help. My doctor has forbidden me to push, he said. They pushed and pushed and pushed, but still Henry stayed in the tunnel. At last, Thomas came along. The conductor waved his red flag and stopped him. Everyone argued with Henry. Look, it has stopped raining, he said. Yes, but it will begin again soon, said Henry. And what would become of my green paint with red stripes then? Thomas pushed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever he could. Still, Henry stayed in the tunnel. Even Sir Topham Hatt gave up. "We shall take away your rails," he said, "and leave you here until you're ready to come out of the tunnel." They took up the old rails and built a wall in front of Henry so that other engines wouldn't bump into him. Went on, Edward and Gordon would often pass by. Edward would say, "Beep, beep, hello." "Serve you right." Had gone out. Soot and dirt from the tunnel had spoiled his lovely green paint and red stripes anyway. How long do you think Henry will stay in the tunnel before he overcomes his fear of the rain and decides to journey out again?
Was working in the construction yard, where supplies for the new branch line were being delivered.
Oh, well, I never! Donald and Douglas.
Gordon always pulled the big express. He was proud of being the only engine strong enough to do so. It was. In a minute, Gordon would see the tunnel where Henry stood bricked up and lonely. "Oh dear, why did I worry about rain spoiling my lovely coat of paint? I'd like to come out of the tunnel." Henry didn't know how to ask. "I'm going to poop at Henry," said Gordon. He was almost there when, whee! And there was proud Gordon going slower and slower in a cloud. His driver stopped the train. "What has happened to me?" asked Gordon. "I feel so weak." "Your safety valve," said the driver. "You can't pull the train anymore." "Dear," said Gordon. "We were going so... Look, there's Henry laughing at me." Everyone came to see Gordon. Said Sir Topham Hatt. "These big engines are always causing me trouble. Send for another engine." While the conductor went to find one, they uncoupled Gordon, who had enough puff to slink onto the siding out of the way. Edward was the only engine left. "I'll come and try." Said Gordon. "That's no use. Edward can't push the train." Kind Edward puffed and pushed and pushed and puffed, but he couldn't move. The heavy coaches. "I told you so," said Gordon. "Why not let Henry try?" "Yes," said Sir Topham Hatt, "I will." "Will you help pull this train, Henry?" "Oh, yes," said Henry. When Henry puffed out, up steam, he puffed out. He was dirty and covered with cobwebs. "Oh, I'm stiff, he groaned. said Edward. I'm ready. Beep, 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 said Henry. So am I. Pull hard, we'll do it. Pull hard, we'll do it. They puffed together. We've done it together, we've done it together, said Edward and Henry. You've done it, hooray! You've done it, hooray! Sang the coaches. Everyone was excited. Sir Topham Hatt leaned out of the window to wave at Edward and Henry. But the train was going so fast that his hat blew off into a field where a goat ate it for tea. They never stopped till they came to the station at the end of the line. The passengers all said thank you, and Sir Topham Hatt promised to stay home. Edward and Henry helped Gordon back to the shed. All three engines are now great friends.